Hello guys and girls, how's it going? Screezel here and I hope you're all well. So, as you may know, I did a kind of response video to TEC, and he's done a response, not a response video per se from me, because, you know, I don't even think he watched the video, but he did a video on the, I think it was the, one of the Japanese planes, Kiev, something or other, one of the Japanese planes where repair price has just gone through the roof, and it's his basic response was, well, you know, whatever, what will be, you know, the repair costs, there we go, like the Key 84 high and things like that, you know, these planes that are just ludicrously expensive. But they have, you know, some slightly different variants. I'm trying to think which exact one it was. It was one of the shuttered ones, but anyway, let's just imagine it was the G56, say, which has got a ridiculous repair price of almost 30,000 lions. And, you know, his video, he ended up making a slight profit. Now, that's all well and dandy and really good and fair, but he's running a premium account for one thing. That's going to help. The other thing is, the main problem people have with this is for the bombers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sacrifice Lions to the Lion Squad and play 5 matches in a row with the B29. Now I'm going to be popping a research booster just so I go, because if I do get some research, that's going to be handy for me. But the thing I'm looking at is actually going to be Silver Lions. So our starting amount is 220,991 lions. Slightly odd number there, but what the heck. We're going to see what we have after 5 matches in this thing. So 5 games, let's see what we end up at. Because bombers are the main thing that everybody's really complaining about with the lion cost, because look at the repair cost, you know. Even, as I said, I'm not sure if I'm gonna, what would be better to prove this on, but I'm going to do the B29 because it is slightly cheaper. The HE177 is more expensive by 10,000 lions, and I don't have the TU4. But the B29 is the one that suffered the most, I believe, you know, along with the Lincoln as well. Actually, the Lincoln is a bit of a problem child, but the Lincoln is 6.0 and the B29 is 6.3, so it ends up facing a few more jets and things like that, and many of the super props and stuff like that. So the B29 tends to suffer a lot. So with 31,000 repair cost, let's see how much money we can make flying out the B29. I'll be back to you after 5 games. Wish me luck. Okie dokie, so we're on our last match now, so this is match number 5 of 5. So far, kind of 2 for 2. Still waiting for the result of one match to come through, but I've been shot down twice, and I've had 2 relatively good bomb run games. No kills of any aircraft. With the wins, I made 54,000 lions, almost 55, and almost 53,000 lions. I started off with 3 million. Let's just go to the 200,000. So I started off with 220,000 lines. Currently I'm sitting at 240,000 lines, so I'm making a slight gain in my bank balance. However, you know, much less due to the repair cost of this plane. Now, this isn't just a negative video. I forgot to do that. There we go. You can actually see me now. Huzzah! This isn't a pure. And you might notice I've got gloves on and a hat, and I'm wearing a t-shirt. Australia, man, it's so bloody weird. It's quite cold today, but also it's warm, so it's just one of those days where it just does not know what it's going to do. So I've got a nice cool breeze coming through my window, which is actually making me a bit cold. Then my computer is making me a bit too warm, so I'm just in this sort of weird sort of state of being. Now also in my matches so far I've only had one down tier, so one tier at my tier. So this is game 5, and we are up tiered. So far I've been up tiered 4 out of 5 games, so obviously there's something with the matchmaker there, because as I said, this is a out of 5 video, so I'm doing 5 matches, so 4 out of the 5 have been pure up tiers, which I don't think is fair in all honesty. My 2 losses have occurred within 5 minutes of the game start. The longest time I lived when I'd been shot down was 5 minutes exactly, and then it was 4 minutes 40 the last time I died, which again is incredibly quick, and you can't even get past your own bases almost in that time. So it's ridiculous that the thing that I have trouble with is the fact that the B29 is so expensive for repair, and it's said for balancing reasons, but what balancing reasons is it? Because the B29 is very weak now, because all bombers, you can see where the star is on the side, will basically break on that point when they're shot at least once in the tail. It's been a bug for ages. I say it's a bug because it basically means that you constantly die. Now, considering we're going to have Arados in this game, I'm most likely going to get shot down as well. We have got a TU2 behind us, but with things like the Arado, especially the fact it's got the guns on board, it's a very, very good plane. You can see there's an Arado coming for me right now. So this is what, we're 2 and a bit minutes. We'll try and defend ourselves. But we are dead. There you go. And R2Y2 has killed us. So that was 3 minutes 10. So it's 10 and we're dead. So out of 5 games, we've had 2 where I've managed to drop bombs, 3 where I've died within the first 5 minutes of the game. Yeah, this is fair, guys, and this is fair. So I just need to wait for the final result now, the final tally. But I've made a loss. I've made a relatively heavy loss as well. Because of course I did get some hits there, so that's something. So I actually made like a small amount of money, but I'm going to make a huge loss on this trial. So if we go to the games, I'm still waiting on one battle where where am I? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, actually, okay, we got a win on Operation Husky. So we've got a win there. So minus 55. So didn't really make anything there. So the total was actually minus 37,000. So let's get this 37.948 loss. We made about 6,000 last game. Depending on whether it's a win or a loss, I'm going to be looking at a loss of money again, about 50, probably about 55,000 lions, about sort of 50, about 50,000 lion loss. So we'll have to wait for that that to come into effect. But basically, the plane is completely ineffective. 3 minutes in a game, you shouldn't be dying. However, when you've got things like the R2Y2, which, let's look at it. Repair cost, 13,000. Repair cost, 20,000. Repair cost, 20,000. Yes, they have a higher repair cost. They have a fairly high repair cost, sorry. But not 55,000 repair cost. And these planes can actually be effective against bombers. So these planes will usually get a kill or two, as well as dropping their bombs. If we look at the Arado as well. Now, of course, the B2 doesn't, but the C3 does. The C3, 7,000 for its research. And again, this is very effective against enemy bombers. So, how is this balancing? How is this balancing the game? How is this making the game better? We can look at things like the HE177 now. Again, this plane is generally going to make a loss on it. Whereas the JU288, you're always going to make a ton of money on it, because it only has an 8,000 research cost. Sorry, 8,000 repair cost, but it's premium, so you know you get lots more bonuses with it for 8,000 line repair cost. So you're effectively crippling people playing these planes. Now, there's also things like the TAR-152s, which have incredibly absorbent repair costs. But again, they have offensive weapons. They again can make a few plane kills, but they're still probably going to make a bit of a loss. But when you're playing something like a B29 or even the TU4, you might get some kills in it, if you're lucky, but the planes are so fragile, bombers are so fragile now, that you can't really take a couple of hits from anything. 130mm will kill you instantly. And you can say, well, that's how it was, 30mm was strong. It wasn't. I can give you a list longer than my arm of bombers that made it back with much more severe damage than we just received. Bombers with half their wing missing, and bombers with, you know, half their crew missing, bombers with the whole front of their nose missing. Yet they're so fragile now, they simply fall apart at the drop of a hat. So yeah, really, this is a counterpoint to the European Canadians video, where he took out one of the Japanese planes and took it out for a set amount of matches and tallied up how little of a loss he made, because, you know, every match he was getting 2 or 3 kills, he was making relatively good money, whereas a bomber, you can't do that. So I have to just wait for that game to finish, and then I'll get you the final record. So we'll just take a little bit of a pause here. And there we go. Okay, so we have it back for us. The fantastic graph here. So we actually earned 7,000 lions, because we got some hits in with our 50 cows, obviously. Lost 52,000, lost 200, so total loss was 45,000, so it will be 45093. So this was 5 game modes, 5 matches, just purely at random. I just match. So out of those 5, 2 were wins, 3 were losses. The 3 losses were all under 5 minutes as well, and this is saying something about the fact of these bomber attackers that they've got, like the R2Y2 and the German Arado, and the fact that they get such an altitude start and have such a high advantage. It means you can't even get past your own bases before you die. Now, yes, you can get a lucky shot in occasionally, but you're not going to really do anything of major interest. So it sort of it kind of negates everything there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill up my little spreadsheet thing. So we're just going to do profits. So the first game was 52,000. Where am I? 52. 52,800. Second match was a loss of 46,157. Sorry, 46, not 56. 46,000. Third match was a loss of 37. So that was a loss of 37,000. So a little bit less this time. So 37,900 and 38,000. Sorry, I've got to add in the actual resupply as well, which I keep forgetting about. 8,048. Third game was a win. So the win was 50,900, 50,282, and the third was a loss of 45. Where was it? Let's just look at that again. So sorry, this is really fun stuff, me doing maths. So total loss of 45,093. So 45,093. So let's just pop decimal points in there. Yeah, minus 6,600. So not a huge loss, but a loss nonetheless. We did gain some research points, so that's something. I almost researched a full. I'm on the British Tech tree. Almost researched a full P47. Sorry, P51 even. But that's not the point. The point of this video is A, so you can see I'm terrible at maths, but B, to point out the fact that balancing via making things more expensive really doesn't work, and it doesn't really help out. Now, if I was, say, didn't have this 3 million, which I usually don't have a high amount of my bank accounts on Lions, that is, I couldn't efficiently play this, because if you, out of 5 games, you're losing, say, if we use this as an average, you lose 6,000 Lions. So, if we needed to play, say, 20 games in this, say we wanted to play 20 games, so 20 times 6,609 will average it out at that. So if we play 20 games, we're going to lose ourselves. We're not going to make any profit. This is basing it off of the averages that I got out of 5 games. So your results may vary, but this is what I'm finding, in all honesty, because the other thing as well is the up tier amount. So out of those 5 games, I only had 1 game at my BR. 1 single game at my BR, and that was it. 1 single 6.3 game. Everything else was at least 7.0 game or 7.3, which again, it's not really fair. You know, the matchmaking needs to change. So if I was to play 20 matches, I would lose a grand total of 132,180 Lions. So that's basing it off the averages that I have. Now that's not including having to purchase modifications for this vehicle, and it's not including the fact that I'd start out with the £500 bombs. With these bombs, I would do less amount of money. I would make a lot less money because the bomb load is very, very small. So of course you need to unlock larger bomb loads. Once you've done that, you can start making money. The other thing is I have a premium account, so if you're a free-to-play player, you would be up shit creek with no paddle, because being premium sort of account holder, it gives you plus 100 to plus 100 reward. So, wait, no, that's not it. That's what I wanted to do. So it gives you plus 50% for active actions in random battles, plus 100 lions for battle time in random battles, and then plus 50% reward in other game modes. So you're getting a lot of reward here, and that's basically what most of my rewards were for playing the battles, is I got some form of compensation for even losing, which you wouldn't get with a standard account. If you're a free-to-play player, this number is going to be magnified by more. You're probably going to make a loss of 200,000 out of 20 games. It simply doesn't add up, and the fact that you are constantly fighting jets. Now, fair enough, the B29 served in Korea. It's fair enough that this vehicle is facing them, but the B29 was flying at an altitude of around about 25,000 feet in Korea, whereas everybody else was much lower. So you need to do two things, well, three things actually, to make bombers viable. One, start them at a higher point in the map, so start them at 20,000 feet. Two, make bombers worth a damn, actually make game modes that bombers can actually make a difference on and actually are part of a game mode. Or three, reduce the cost of them, because 55,000 lions to play a B29 is simply unfair, and it's penalising players for wanting to play a plane that is iconic and they enjoy. Now, I can hear you naysayers going, well, it's because the B29 in a squad of 4 can win a match. Yes, it can. However, doesn't very often. A squad of these, 84s or 82s, will win a match almost every map. Their maximum repair costs are much, much cheaper. For an aced one, I've got my French one, of course, which I can of course show off, the 84. Maximum repair cost of 8,000 lions. I can make around 60 to 70,000 lions in this plane ground pounding, and I cause more damage to the team because they lose more tickets. These have more of a change of outcome in a match fighting AI than a bomber does. There's also the issue of certain planes being priced out of literally being able to be played, and we look at the G56 for this. This plane is literally unplayable because you're going to make a loss on matches. Now, it's not going to be a huge loss, but you're still going to make a loss. You're not going to actually make any profit. So if you're a free-to-play player, you're trying to make any profit in the game, you simply can't because of these repair costs. This does not balance the plane. This is not making the plane better or worse. This is not a balancing issue. This is just Gaijin being lazy and not wanting to fix their game. This is Gaijin being lazy and not making it so there is a more balanced system. Put this plane at 6.0 if it's doing too well. Why not? There are plenty of props at 6.0. Ah, there it is, the A6m5 Otsu. So the standard one, the resin, 6,000 lions. Reasonable. The Otsu, with its extra 13.2mm gun, that's the change, really. It's the fact it has one more gun. It's a bit slower because of that, but it has a more effective gun on it. Just one gun, mind you. 28,000 lions at 4.7. Put it at 5.0. Up tier it a bit. Yet we have things like the P47. P47s can decimate an enemy team. Any P47. Their repair costs are not even past 10,000 lions, you know. Why are these so cheap? Because, as I said, these planes are the ones which basically can just grind for anything. My premium P47, for instance, you know, you can just make money in that. It just absorbs lions, and it's a quicker way of making lions than any other vehicle. because you're just simply ground pounding it, and then they probably get a few air kills because of the 50 cals, which are still slightly overpowered. But this is the problem, is you're basically negating the ability for people to play many of these vehicles because you're too lazy to make a game mode where they can't instantly win. And 90% of the time they're not instantly winning because they're getting shot down instantly because every plane can reach them. A good example of another plane that is having this issue is the TAR 152. Both TAR 152s are extremely expensive, and these are the planes that are intercepting the B29s. So put them at 6.0. Why not? The K4 as well is very good plane, but you keep upping the repair cost. The fact that the K9 is cheaper than the ME163 or the MiG-15 BIS or the top tier vehicle, the MiG-19S or the CL fucking Sabre, these vehicles are more expensive to play, yet these are the top tier, the most expensive vehicles. Why are these so cheap when these are so expensive? It just makes no sense. It's ludicrous, and this kind of thing needs to be fixed. The only way it's going to get fixed as well is if community members and community content members stop sucking up to Gaijin, stop going up their arse. They need to actually say, no, this is not a solution, this is an issue. And the player base itself needs to get vocal on this. Now, this is not like parts and FPE. Yes, there are still issues with that, and yes, Naval still needs it, but they're not doing it because, screw Naval. But the issue lies with us. We need to make a statement. We need to actually speak. We need to tell Gaijin, no, this is stupid, this is awful, and this needs to stop. Make them so it's not doing this. Now, it's mind-blowing to me that this is such a thing. Also, things like helicopters. Now, helicopters have effectively taken a nerf, but the AH-1G is still a ridiculously effective vehicle because it will often play 7.0 matches. It's often the top tier vehicle and your lowest tier vehicle, and yet it has a tiny repair cost. I've seen these things take out 10 tanks in a game. The start of a match, take out 10 fucking tanks. It's not acceptable. Yet this, a vehicle that can't even get close to a battlefield in ground forces, and only can be playable in Air RB or Air Sim, is so expensive to repair you can't play it. It just makes no sense, and this needs to be fixed. I urge all of you content creators out there. Now, I doubt any of you are watching this video. If you are, thank you. But I urge you to actually make videos on this and call out their BS. I urge you to call out content creators on this bullshit. If they're defending it, call them out. Let them know. Become vocal. We as a people can make them change this. Because we're the ones that pay Gaijin's wages. We're the ones that keep this game going. The game needs players. It doesn't need no players. If there are only 10 players, Gaijin can't afford to make this game. If we as a people, all 20,000 of them at the moment, 28,000 at the moment, but peak time possibly 50,000, if 30,000 of us say, stop it, reduce the price, make this a feasible game mode again, if that happens, they will do it. Of course, they'll be sour, and they will make something nerfed, or they'll mess something up. But again, we as players need to tell them, no, stop that. We do not want this to happen. We want this game to be balanced and fair. We want this to be fair on free-to-play players. We want this to be fair on premium members. The fact that I am making a loss on a premium account is something that should really be noted. Making a loss on premium account is bloody hard to do, but bombers will do it for you. Every main tech tree bomber will do it for you. Yet Germany has 2 of the most effective bombers in the premium line, which are some of the cheapest bombers as well. Look at the BV238, for example. This plane has about 1,000 kilograms less TNT value get less TNT value than the B29. So it's a very effective weapon. It carries 20 250 kilogram bombs. This thing is very good. Repair cost of 8,000 lions. This thing has also got good offensive weapons. It's a 3.3 vehicle. Let's look at the HE-111. Not nearly as many bombs, 4,000. Let's look at something with a similar payload at that BR, which would be the Halifax. 7,000 repair cost. It's not balancing if you just make things more expensive. It simply isn't working, and it's not the way to make it a game. Okay, I hope you've understood this video, and I hope you understand why I've made this video. It's not because, oh, well, poor woe is me, you know. No, I can make money easily. I just jump in my Ju-288. Like, I'm going to make a couple of million in a couple of days. That's not a problem for me. The problem is that I can't play my favourite vehicles. I can no longer play the HE-177. Not feasible anymore. Simply not feasible. I've given up grinding the Russian bomber tech tree because what am I going to get? I'm going to get a TU2, which is okay and not bad, and then the TU4, which, again, is a vehicle that is unplayable because it's facing vehicles that intercept it immediately. The defensive weapons are good, but they're not good enough. And the other issue is bombers are made too fragile these days. Simply one hit in the tail section and this whole bit will fall off. It's not how it works, Gaijin. You really need to look at the damage models again because that's a big problem too. Thank you for watching. Power to the people, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.